Hey, Shalom, Yashala, world, and brother Ezekiel,
Brother Chris.
back at it again. This is going to be the finale of how to judge righteously, righteous judgment, according to the Most High's law, statute, and commandments. And we were going to pick up in Amos 5 and 10, um, where we left off from last week, which was Amos 5, 6 through 7. So we'll pick up there and we'll begin there. Let me just get in myself. All right. And basically, it was saying, like, for people who did unrighteously judge and stuff, they're turning, the Most High's laws into wormwood and things like that and corrupting everything. So once you have corrupted judges, you teach the next generation to be corrupted judges as well. But let's go ahead and get it. Amos 5 and verse 10.
Amos chapter 5 and verse 10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly.
They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. So when you bring, for instance, give you an example, when you guys like if you know the laws, let's say you're not sinning or anything like that, you're not breaking, and you see a brother that may be breaking a law or sinning, right? Well, sinning is transgression of the law. So you bring it to their attention one on one and things like, you doing wrong, bro. You can't be doing that and stuff. And then the other brother sits there and he gets mad because it's cutting into his mind and his soul and stuff that you're bringing this to his attention. He doesn't want that, or she doesn't want that. They don't want you telling them nothing, so they'll rebuke you and hate what you have to say to them. And with that being said, that's telling you that they don't like righteousness. They'll cut their ears off. They don't want to hear that, whatever the case may be. So therefore, they'll continue doing what they're doing, their unrighteous stuff, because sometimes maybe it's coming from you or somebody else or something like that. So the thing is, it's up to that individual to take, what we say nowadays, criticism. But this is righteous criticism according to the Most High. But let's jump to Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 14 and 16, because when they don't want to hear that and stuff, there's going to be a judgment for all that. So basically, like I said back in Revelations, like, hey, if they want to stay filthy, let them stay filthy and stuff. You could bring it to them, but if they continue like, oh, forget what you say, I ain't trying to hide, then let them be. Be gone with it. Don't cast your jewels among swine, your pearls. You know what I'm saying? Let it go. They're going to be marked as 2/3. The name of the Father ain't in them because they don't want correction. Okay? Let me get there. What did I say?
Habakkuk.
Habakkuk, excuse me.
Second chapter.
Yeah. One moment, y'all. Sorry. Okay. All right, go ahead, Ed.
Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 14 through 16. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Most High, as the water covers the sea. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Thou art filled with the shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Most High right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory.
Now, why did I go here dealing with this? Is because what was talking about here is a sin that you're doing, the cup of unrighteousness and things like that. You're getting them drunk on a spiritual level of keeping them constantly doing the same thing. So if you sinning and you doing unrighteous judgment and stuff, you're going to teach the next person to do the same thing. You're going to pass them the cup to do the same thing, get drunken and show their shamefulness, their sins. And it's not going to be shameful no more, because nowadays our people are just living in that shame like it's a good thing to do, like it's some trait, or some new trend, a new trend and stuff, So like I see women purposely, like shaving their head bald and stuff, and it's supposed to be a fashion statement, when according to the script, they ain't supposed to be doing that. Okay, unless they got some type of leprosy or whatever the case may be, or some type of sickness on them or something. Or they was one of the daughters of Zion and they got hit with the curse of the scab, like it tells you in Isaiah 3 and I think it's 16 all the way down. Okay, so if you're going to sit there and give that drink to them instead of taking the cup that, like what Christ was set before him, which was the righteousness, the cup of righteousness, and drink from it, if you don't do that, then you're going to continue to keep passing down that wine of unrighteousness to the next generation and to the next generation, and therefore nobody's going to want to come back to it. It's only going to be a few, and the Most High already has those few chosen out already. So that's why I went to that scripture dealing with that. But let's go to Zechariah chapter 1 and verse 2 through 6.
The book of Zechariah. Zechariah, first chapter, verse 2 through verse 6. The Most High had been sore displeased with your fathers. Therefore say thou unto them, Thus says the Most High of hosts, Turn ye unto me, said the Most High of hosts, and I will turn to you, said the Most High of hosts. Be ye as not as your fathers, unto whom the former prophets have cried, saying, Thus says the Most High of hosts, Turn ye now from your evil ways and from your evil doings. But they did not hear, nor hearken unto me, said the Most High. Your fathers, where are they? And the prophets, do they live forever? But my words and my statutes, which I commanded my servants the prophets, did they not take hold on your fathers? And they returned and said, Like the Most High of hosts thought to do unto us according to our ways and according to our doings, so hath he dealt with us.
So with that being said, that's what's going to come upon us. So everything that we deem is right, what we think is right to do and things like that, it's not according to the Most High. Guess what? It's going to come to you on that day of judgment. This is what's going to happen. Because why? Once again, we're teaching our people how not to judge righteously according to the law, statute, and commandments. Our people are constantly being taught man-made doctrines through these religions and isms and schisms and stuff, and this is the reason why nothing gets done. You guys keep marching down the street thinking that's going to do something. It's not going to do a dang thing for you and stuff. That's why we keep trying to tell our people, stop looking to our slave masters and our captivities for freedom and stuff. Come back to the Most High. But to back this up with a precept, a commandment, let's go back to Exodus chapter 20 real quick to show you what he said, that this is what's going to happen while he was speaking on the fathers. 20 in verse 5.
Book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Ahiah, am a jealous, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children until the third and fourth generation unto them that hate me.
So right there, that's backing that up, showing that that generational curse is going to keep happening and happening and happening and happening and happening because the parents is not teaching this to their children when it's instructed to us that we're supposed to teach this. But the Most High just said, my words is forever and stuff. Your prophets die, your parents die, okay, where they at? But my word is always going to be here and stuff. And as we read verse 6, it says, and show mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. See that? So that's what we're supposed to do according to the Most High. Come back to his law, statute, commandments. You want freedom? You want curses lift off to you and stuff? Get out of these things. You want to be judged righteously? You want righteous judgment and stuff? Come back to the laws because the laws teach you how to judge righteously. But let's jump to Zephaniah chapter 1 and then verse 14. Oops. Whatever. Not Zacharias and Zephaniah mixed up. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Zephaniah, first chapter,
Mm-hmm.
verse 14.
Yep.
Zephaniah, book of Zephaniah, first chapter, verse 14. The great day of the Most High, it is near, and hateth greatly, even the voice of the day of a higher. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm, and against the fenced city, against the fenced cities, and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Ahiah, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of Ahiah's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land.
You see that? So this is what's the judgment is going to come on to us for individuals that's doing what they think is right in their what they deem is right in their own eyes and things. So this is all going to come down to it, and that's going to be that judgment. And when we and our people see this, or the whole nation, the whole world sees this and stuff, it's not going to be anything nice. Everybody's going to be starting worrying. Then real fear is going to come on them, like, oh man, I should have listened to them. I should have done this. I should have done that. No, now that righteous judgment is coming on because he's going to give according to what you did. Okay? So you better clear this up and start doing according to the Most High's laws and judging correctly. To you so-called, whoever's elders, deacons, bishops, whatever type of position you got amongst the masses of the people. You better start teaching this law and things and teaching how to judge righteously, righteous judgment. But let's go to let's go to Ezra to see what I'm talking about. Let's go to Ezra chapter 7, verse 10.
Apocryphal.
No, Ezra. Just in the Tanakh.
Ezra 7th chapter and verse 10. For Ezra had prepared his heart to seek the law of the Most High and to do it, and to teach in Israel statutes and judgments.
See that? So Ezra was seeking the laws and preparing his heart, meaning his mind, to seek after the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High. But let's keep reading.
Verse 11. Now this is the copy of the letter that the king Artaxerxes gave unto Ezra the priest, the scribe, and even the scribe of the words of the commandments of the Most High, and of his statutes to Israel. Artaxerxes, king of kings, unto Ezra the priest, a scribe of the law of the Most High of heaven, perfect peace, and at such a time. I make a decree that all they of the people of Israel and of his priests and the Levites and my realm, which are minded of their own free will to go up to Jerusalem, go with thee. For as much as thou art sent of the king and of his 7 counselors to inquire concerning Judah and Jerusalem, according to the law of thy God, which is in thy hand, and to carry the silver and gold.
Go ahead, keep reading.
Keep reading, verse 15.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Verse 15. And to carry the silver and gold, which the king and his counselors have freely offered unto the Most High of Israel, whose habitation is in Jerusalem.
You see that? So the king even made it, a decree. You have to do this. He had to repeat this decree to all our people and stuff. Seek after the law so we could judge correctly. We could do all these things and give this understanding and have order back again with Israel. It's the same thing that we have to do now. Okay? Jump down to verse 25 and through 28.
Ezra, 7th chapter, verse 25 through 28. And thou, Ezra, after the wisdom of thy God.
Mind you, it said after the wisdom of thy God. Not every book out here, not after the wisdom of man-made doctrines and stuff, after the wisdom of the Most High, which is his law, statute, and commandments. Go ahead.
And thou, Ezra, after the wisdom of thy God, that is in thine hand, set magistrates and judges, which may judge all the people that are beyond the river, all such as know the laws of thy God.
Go ahead.
And teach ye them that know them not.
See that? It says, all such as know the laws of thy God. So, for instance, once again, how can you call yourself a judger and a teacher if you don't know the laws? How are you going to be a judge or a teacher or even have a position in the kingdom to go amongst the saints and the rest of the children of Israel and the Gentiles that make it inside Christ's kingdom if you don't know the laws yourself? You cannot be set there. So how are you calling yourself a teacher, an elder, a deacon, a bishop, or whatever these other man-made titles is, and you don't even know the laws? You teach impartial. You're supposed to teach the whole thing. Once again, it says, and thou, Ezra, after the wisdom of thy God that is in thine hand, set magistrates and judges, which may judge all the people that are beyond the rivers, such as know the laws of thy God, and teach ye them that know them not. So they're supposed to teach the ones that know them not. What did Christ say? And let's hold this. We'll go back to Christ real quick. Matthew 5 and 19.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 19. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach man so, he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever shall teach and do them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Verse 20.
For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
So even the Messiah told you you're supposed to teach this 100%. Okay? So you're supposed to teach these. And to back that up in Paul's epistles, let's jump to Romans 2 and 12 real quick. So that everybody want to say the laws is done away with this stuff. Like we said again, Moses wasn't on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights fasting and stuff and only writing 10 commandments, y'all. Romans 2 and 12.
Chapter 2 and verse 12.
Yep, go ahead.
Romans chapter 2 and verse 12 reads, for as many as have sinned without the law shall also perish without the law.
So there you go. All that says the laws are done away with. The blood of Jesus is on us. We don't need to keep the law no more. You're going to perish because you don't keep the laws. Go ahead.
And as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law.
So you know in the laws and stuff and you purposely break them, you're going to be judged by it. Go ahead.
Verse 13. For not the hearer of the law are just before Ahiah, but the doers of the law shall be justified.
So if you do the laws according to the Most High, instead of just hearing them, you're going to be justified by the Most High, which means you're going to be upright. You're going to be a righteous man. Okay? Let's jump back to Ezra, excuse me.
Ezra.
And read verse 25 again all the way through.
Ezra. chapter 7, verse 25. And thou, Ezra, after the wisdom of thy God that is in thine hand, set magistrates and judges which may judge all the people that are beyond the river, all such as know the laws of thy God, and teach ye them that know them not. And whosoever will not do the law of thy God and the law of the king, let judgment be executed speedily upon him.
Speedily. Let it be executed speedily. And trust the Most High in that time will allow that to happen just like that. That's righteous judges, meaning no respecter of persons. Okay? But go ahead.
Whether it be unto death or unto banishment, or to confiscation of goods, or to imprisonment. Blessed be Ahiah of our fathers, which has put such a thing as this in the king's heart, to beautify the house of the Most High, which is in Jerusalem.
So why wouldn't you want to keep the law, statute, and commandments? The laws is beautiful. They even said it right here. It's a beautiful thing to keep. But once again, you got other men who think otherwise, that his laws is not beautiful. Because why? You're a respecter of person. That's why. But go ahead.
Verse 28. And hath extended mercy unto me before the king and his counselors, and before all the king's mighty princesses. And I was strengthened as the hand of Ahiah was upon me. And I gathered together out of Israel chief men to go up with me.
See that? So this is what we're supposed to do according to righteous judgment here. You need those laws, brothers and sisters, okay? No matter what anybody says, the doctrines of men, if it don't line up according to this doctrine, it's a waste of time. You might as well turn your hearing aids off from that and become deaf to that bull crap, okay? But let's go to Malachi chapter 3 and verse 16 through 18.
Malachi 3, 16 through 18?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 16 through 18. Then they that feared Ahiah spake often one to another, and said, Ahiah hearkened, and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Ahiah, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith Ahiah of hosts. And that day, when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them, as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth Ahiah and him that serveth him not.
See that? So that's how you be able to discern what's right, what's wrong, what's wicked, what's righteous, okay? You need those laws. This is why I write all this stuff in my book, my journal and stuff. I keep this with me because one day this won't be around. Okay? This is not going to be around anymore. And you got to have this embedded in your mind and your heart. That's how you're going to get through all the other stuff, going through the wilderness and so forth and so on, okay? But what was that? Let's get the next let's jump to Nehemiah chapter 8 and verse 1 through 8. And we backing all this up accordingly so you can see how you could judge, how you could teach our people and things. But the only way you could do that, as we read, you need to know those laws. Yeah, Nehemiah 8 and 1 through 8.
Book of Nehemiah, chapter 8, verse 1 through 8. And all the people gathered themselves together as one man in the street that was before the water gate. And they spake unto Ezra, the scribe, to bring the book of the law of Moses, which Ahiah had commanded to Israel. And Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, the book of men and women, and all that could hear and with understanding upon the first day of the 7th month. And he read therein before the street that was before the water gate from the morning until midday, before the men and the women and those that could understand. And the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law.
It was attentive unto the book of the law. No, they gave them the book of their understanding.
No.
Or the doctrine of their understanding.
No.
It says the book of the law. And Yeshua, Christ, was that walking book. That's why the Pharisees were astonished at what he was saying, because, once again, he didn't grow up underneath their lineage. He wasn't taught in their synagogues and things like that. He already knew this stuff. That's why they couldn't really speak against him except create the mischief of false witnesses and things, because he was speaking the truth according to the scripts. Okay? Or excuse me, according to the laws. Okay? But go ahead.
Verse 4. And Ezra the scribe stood up upon the pulpit of wood, which they had made for the purpose, and beside him stood Matthiah, and Shema, and Ananiah, and Uriah, and Hilkiah, and Maaseiah, on his right hand, and on his left hand, Pedaiah, Mishael, and Mishael, Hashem, and Hashbaddanah, Zechariah, and Meshullam. And Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, for he was above all the people. And when he opened it, all the people stood up. And Ezra blessed the Most High the Great. And all the people answered, Amen, Amen, with lifting up their hands, and they bowed their heads and worshiped the Most High with their faces to the ground. And Yeshua, and Benah, and Sherebiah, Jamin, Akub, Shabbathel, Hodijah, Maaseiah, Kelita, Azariah, Zozabad, Hanan, Peliah, and the Levites called the people to understand the law, and the people stood in their place. So they read the book and the law of the Most High distinctively, and gave these sense and caused them to understand the reading.
See that? And caused them to understand the reading of the law. You're supposed to teach this 100%. Now you could cleanse yourself of all wickedness that you've been doing through your whole life. And now you could be called upright and perfect. Like what Christ said, be ye perfect like your Father in heaven. That's the instructions to do these things right here. And this is what gives you discernment how to judge. You see that? But once again, if you're creating these man-made doctrines, it's not dealing with the laws, guess what? It's going to cause all this confusion still going on and stuff, and people up worshiping men because they sound so deep in things. And that's not what we're supposed to be dealing with, okay? But let's jump to Psalms 105. Roman numerals. It's like C something. Yeah, C. Psalms 105 and verse 6 through 10. And basically, when we get baptized and stuff, you know, or we're stepping into brothers who don't do baptism, they say baptism is the word that baptizes you and things. Okay. It reminds you, when you get that baptism, it's an oath you're taking. You're making a promise with the Most High that you're going to have to fulfill. And best believe, when you get chastised, it's because you ain't fulfilling that oath. You know, that's happened to me. That's happened to plenty of other brothers and sisters in this earth and stuff. So he'll come knocking on that door letting you know. Okay? You got to fulfill this. Okay? But go ahead.
Psalm chapter 105, verse 6 through 10. O ye seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen. He is the Most High. His judgments are in all the earth. He hath remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he made with Abraham, and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant.
So this is, once again, These are the promises and the oath that we made to the Most High, the same promise that He made with us, if we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. And you'll be able to be set up to judge accordingly. Okay? So we have to deal with this whole book in its completeness. That's the only way you could judge. And then make sure that you're not breaking those laws and then trying to judge somebody when you're doing the same things. Okay? You'd be a hypocrite. But let's jump to Psalms 106 and verse 3.
Psalm 106, verse 3. Blessed are they that keep judgment, and he that doeth righteousness at all times.
So blessed is you that keep the judgments. What is judgment? Meaning you're executing the laws of, or the ordinances of what people do according to the law, or that they don't do. So you're not like I said, once again, as a judge, you're not a respecter of persons. You're doing everything diligently and obedient. You're being obedient. Okay. Let's jump to Psalms 89 and verse 14 through 18.
Psalms chapter 89. Book of Psalms chapter 89, verse 14 through 18. Justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go before thy face. Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound. They shall walk, O Lord, in the light of thy countenance. In thy name shall they rejoice all the day, and in thy righteousness shall they be exalted. For thou art the glory of their strength. And in thy favor our horn shall be exalted. For the Most High is our defense, and the Holy One of Israel is our King.
So speaking of Christ there, of course, being our King and everything. But that's that righteous judgment again. Okay? This is what you're supposed to, you'll be joyful when you hear that actual trumpet, like it tells you in Isaiah 58:1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up the voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression in the house of Jacob their sins. That's showing, that speaking of the law. Blow the laws out there. Teach them this stuff. When they start hearing it, they'll be joyful. They'll be filled with joyfulness because it's coming from the Abba. Okay? And then it'll bring us all back together and we'll be all on one accord. Well, we knowingly right now that only person is going to do that is Hamashiach, Yeshaya, or Yahweh Shai, or to y'all still say Jesus Christ, is going to do that. But we are trying to do the foreshadows of things to come. So we're trying to prep before that time comes, because you can't just be like, okay, he's here now I can do it and stuff. This whole time you and just been sitting back idle and you still been sinning and stuff. You don't notice. You're just going to wait that Christ get here. You think you made it in because you're Israel, or you feel you've been taught a certain doctrine and stuff that you're going to make it in just like that. It's not going to work like that. That's why we're teaching this now and trying to get this back in, because it goes into my mind, elders' mind and stuff. It starts going through a way of life. By the time Christ get here, we'll be set. So when we stand in front of the judgment seat, hey, I did what you asked me to do. You know what I'm saying? Can't say that I didn't do it. Okay? And admit my faults or my sins as well. You know, so so that's basically what it says. Let's jump to Psalms 82 real quick.
Verse.
Oh, the whole book of Psalms. I mean, chapter 82. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, this is what happens. This is what you need to do according to this, because ye are the, as they say in the scripture, the gods of the earth, but meaning the judges of the earth. Okay, but go ahead.
Psalm 82. Ahia standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods.
So the gods is talking about Israel. It's talking about the men who have this position to do these things. Go ahead.
How long will ye judge unrighteously and accept the person of the wicked? Selah.
So he's asking, yo, you guys got, yo, guys, y'all got this going and stuff. How many times are you going to continue to keep judging unrighteously and accept the people of the wicked? How many times are you going to keep doing that? That's what's happening in Israel now today. Okay? And even in the nation's court systems and things like that. It's the same thing. But go ahead.
Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy.
Who's the afflicted and needy? The lost sheep of the house of Israel. Okay? They don't know. Our people don't know. They need to get woken up. They need they're being afflicted because they have to turn from their wicked ways to come back onto the Most High. And you're set up to do that, to teach them that. Okay? Go ahead.
Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked.
Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. What's going on now? The churches, all the Christianity, all these other religions and stuff. And then now in Israel, the certain camps and things, doing the same exact stuff. You need to speak the truth. And the only truth is those laws, statutes, and commandments through Christ and the Holy Spirit back to the Father. Okay? Go ahead.
They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course.
You see that? The whole world is all out of course. Because why? The righteous men of Israel is not set up. You're not taking your seat onto bringing us back in order and things. So you have to do these things. But until then, the whole world's going to be out of course. Go ahead.
I have said, ye are guards. You are guards, and all of your children of the Most High.
We are gods, the Most High is saying, and we are all children of the Most High. Go ahead.
But ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princesses. Arise, O Ahiah, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all the nations.
So we ask the Most High, yo, righteous men will start praying on to the Most High, man, please just judge this earth and do this because we getting tired of living here. We getting tired of this captivity. We getting tired of the curses, so forth and so on and stuff. Okay? We want to get out of here. We want to get out this condition, but not until he says it's time and stuff. So what you can do, study the laws, know them, apply it to self, and then help apply it to others. Let them change you, which is repenting, and put it forth to others to do the same thing. And then that time could start coming down to the point where we'll have our Messiah coming back. Okay? Let's jump to let's jump to Nehemiah, back to Nehemiah 10 and verse 28 through 29.
Nehemiah 10 what?
Chapter 10, verse 28.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 10 and verse 28.
And you guys will see why I'm going here.
And the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, Nethinims, and all they that had separated themselves from the people of the lands of the law of the Most High, their wives and their children and their daughters, everyone having knowledge and having understanding.
So, reason why I went here is because, like it says, and the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nethinims, and all they that had separate themselves from the people of the lands unto the law of Ahiah. The reason why I went here with this one is because a lot of our people want to read all those other books of all these other nations, learn how their spirituality works, and learning all this other stuff that means nothing to us. You try to bring that type of teaching and mix it in with the Torah, the Tanakh, and the Gospel. That's a problem. You need to separate yourself from their cultures, from their other their way of living and stuff. That's not our way of living. Okay? Don't intertwine this with the scriptures. Don't do that. And I've seen a lot of cats do it. Whoa. See, the chakras is talking about this. And right here, what it says in such and such, Nehemiah means this. And your third eye, your pineal gland is the third eye and things like that. Really? Oh, all I had to do was sit there and say, well, that's my temple. The temple is where the Most High dwells. He'll open up and give me all the wisdom that I need and stuff. So why do I have to sit there and say it's my third eye when I could break it down in the scriptures the way it says according to the scripts in Hebrew? Why do I have to go to Asian type of mythology or Egyptian mythology or Grecian mythology or Roman mythology? Why do I have to go to these other theologians or theologies just to break down the scriptures when the scriptures can break all that stuff down? Basically, they got it from the scriptures. Why do I have to go to those things? Separate yourself from that stuff, period. Okay? But go ahead.
Nehemiah chapter 10 and verse 29. They clave to their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse and into an oath to walk in the Most High's law, which was given them by Moses, the servant of Ahiah, and to observe and to do all the commandments of the Most High and his judgments and his statutes.
See that? So this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to walk in his law. Plain and simple. We don't need no other books. You don't need it. I understand for historical situations as far as, geographical points and things where we may have been, you have to go into certain books. But I've seen and I've heard people bringing in other spirituality books into the scriptures to make it sound so deep when it's not. And that's adding on to the word and giving us well, I ain't going to say certain words, but anyways, it's stay away from those books, period. Okay? Master the scriptures. All right? Let's go to, excuse me. 15. Let's go back to Amos chapter 5 and verse 12 through 14. And this is what's going to happen. There's going to be that famine in that land where you're not going to hear this anymore. Literally, you guys are not going to see this anymore. You're not going to see these judges. You're not going to hear this anymore and things like that. And when times come like this, folks are going to keep their silence and things. So you guys better get yourself ready before that famine comes. Sorry. Let me get to
Amos 5 and
let's say Amos 5, verse 12.
Yep.
One moment. Okay, go ahead.
Amos, the 5th chapter and verse 12. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. They afflict the just. They take a bribe. They take a bribe, and they turn aside the poor in the gate from their right. Therefore, the prudent shall keep silence in that time, for it is an evil time.
So right there, for it is going to be an evil time. So bring this all the way down together, or all together, excuse me. This is why it's important not to deal with them other books and things. You bring that into the scriptures. This is exactly what's going to happen. It's going to teach our people to do more sinful things and stuff and put them in a high mind state of arrogancy and pride to the point where, well, I got so much wisdom and stuff. Is it wisdom of the Most High, or did you pull it out of that book, the 42 Laws of Mayat or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Yo, stick to the scriptures. But once again, like I said, it's going to be a time, and like we in evil times now. There's going to be a point, like I said, they're going to banish this word. You cannot teach this no more. And at that time, you're going to be shut it up, where the people who know it, they're going to be know it. And basically all those ones are going to be 2/3. Okay? But go ahead.
Seek good and not evil, that you may live, and so Ahiah of hosts shall be with you, as ye have spoken. Hate the evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate, that it may be that the Most High of hosts will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph.
See that? So basically say, keep reading.
Verse 16. Therefore, Ahiah of hosts saith thus, wailing shall be in all streets, and they shall say in all the highways, alas, alas, and they shall call the husbandmen to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing.
Jump to, excuse me. Yeah, that lamentation and more is going to come. Jump to Amos 8 and verse 11 through 14. Yeah. And this is what's going to happen.
Amos chapter 8, verse 11 through 14.
And basically what I was saying with that last verse too, that judgment, the judges and stuff, meaning the righteous men and women that's sitting up and they're keeping the law, statute, and commandments, they're not going to be speaking anymore. Right. Because why? Nobody wants to hear it. They cut their ears off completely. So with that being said, how can you help judge somebody who wants to stay living in wickedness and stay living in their filth? It's going to be cut off. There's the Most High is probably going to be like, well, no more. Forget it. I already got who I need. Okay. You just keep worrying about yourself and the ones that surround you, that of my flock that's around you and stuff. Stay diligent with them and with yourself. But go ahead.
Behold, the days come, said the Most High, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Ahijah. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro, seek the word of the Most High. They shall not find it. In that day shall their fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. They that swear by the sin of Samaria, and say, Thy God, O Dan, liveth, and the manner of Beersheba liveth, even they shall fall, and never rise up again.
So he's basically saying all your gods that you worship besides the Most High and stuff, they're going to be trying to seek, they're going to be trying to look for, the gods of Asia, the gods of the Arabs, the gods of all these other nations and stuff, and it's not going to help them. And they're going to be like, but I thought they were going to help us. The Hindu gods and things like that and so forth and so on. Where they at? Once again, they're dumb idols. They can't help you. They're soulless. It's not a true and living God. So with that being said, this is what's going to happen. So in that time, you ain't going to find none of us. This type of videos and lessons and things, brothers standing on street corners trying to teach, you ain't going to see it no more. It's going to be done, kaput. And they already stayed up. And in that time, you're going to be lamenting, you're going to be mourning, you're going to be all in sorrow, so forth and so on. And you're going to be wishing you had a drink of that water, which is that good word. You ain't going to find it no more. Because guess what? Especially in this land, a lot of brothers and sisters is bouncing out of this country. You ain't going to find it here. And you barely would find it over across seas and stuff, because religions and isms and schisms go throughout the whole lands, all through the whole world and stuff. Like the Most High said, the world's been given into the hand of the wicked. So this is I don't know what to do, but this is pretty much it. I mean, this is pretty much the last part of the lesson here. So I mean, we went through the whole scriptures of how to judge righteously, and that time of judging righteously is going to be up and things. So you guys better start coming back to these laws, statutes, and commandments and stop following the man-made doctrines and things. Open up your book and read it. Okay? That's what's going to save you through hard times. Once again, and I'm going to do a lesson on who the comforter is. It's right here. Here's your comforter right here. And she's with you at all times. That's if you carry her around all times. So I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't have nothing else to say. What about you, Elder? You got anything to say on the matter?
Yes, it's kind of spooky because everybody is looking for a movement. The Me Too movement. The Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Panther movement. No, those movements can save anybody. Here's the movement right here. The living word is moving through man's heart. Those who will open up their heart and let it come in. So there's going to be another movement after that movement. But this is the same movement. They've been moving throughout the earth since he created the world.
Yep.
His spirit moved and it's still moving. All we have to do is abide by the words, laws, statutes, and commandments.
And we'll move right on with it.
So that's what we're going to do.
Yep. That's right, Elder. Shoot, hey, like we said before, all this marching and asking for a good old slave master to help us get us out, it's not gonna happen. You gotta, you guys gotta come together and stuff, and really, sit down with each other and know these laws. Like I said, before even reading the rest of the book, you should read Exodus chapter 20 all the way through the book of Leviticus, through Numbers, and then to the end of Deuteronomy, which will give you all those laws, statutes, and commandments. And once you start reading that and things, you guys start growing. You start applying it to yourself. It'll waken you up and knowing like, dang, I didn't know about that. And here it is. I was sitting here breaking it the whole time. Then once you season in that, then deal with the rest of the book. Now you understand exactly what Christ was teaching and what he was talking about. You'll understand the prophets, and you'll definitely understand Paul's writings without any confusion. Okay? But it's up to you and things, and this is why I stress people, even when I talk on the phone with brothers and sisters all around the world and things, or in person and stuff. That's the first thing I stress. If you come to me asking me certain questions about certain things, and I hear that it's a doctrine, I'm going to tell you it's a doctrine right off the bat. Let's go to the law. Let's see what the law says. Let's see what it says about that. Does it in sync with the laws? Period. The commandments, the statutes, the judgments. Is it in order with that? And just like it says, there's going to be a time and season for everything. As a matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. Because that's going to be that time and season. You ain't going to hear that word no more. You ain't going to see this. You're going to be holding on to your little crosses and stuff. You're going to be praying to your sun, moon, and star. And ain't nothing going to do nothing for you. Okay? Or your little statues and little idols around the house. You'll be holding on to a man and stuff. Preacher, come on, save us. You're building and stuff. Ain't nothing going to save you.
It's not doing it now. If you look around, things are getting worse, and you are going to your preachers and your false gods, and things aren't getting any better. But when we read our word, it tells us, "I came to bring a sword, not bring peace."
Yep.
So that makes sense of what's going on, because he's preparing us for what to come, versus you going to all the other little gods and saying that this God must not be the one because he let 911 happen.
Right.
He told you what's going to happen.
And then you want to blame the Most High for him taking your children and your loved ones away because your wicked self didn't teach your children and your loved ones.
We keep sacrificing them.
Yep, completely. But
anyway,
Ecclesiastes
chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, a time to heal. A time to break down, a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to remembrance.
Embrace.
A time to embrace, thank you. And a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace.
And that's it on that. So, hey, that's something you got to figure out what time you in or what time we're in and things like that. Okay? You guys you better wake up to this. I pray and hope you guys really do get this word and stuff. Not because I'm saying it or other brothers and sisters are saying it. You need to be reading this. You need to diligently search out all day according to what the word said. Stop bringing in ideologies from every other places that you learned. When you push away everything that you learned in your whole life, growing up in churches, mosques, or whatever, temples, synagogues, whatever you learned from, if you push that away and start off fresh, just reading the scriptures for yourself, guarantee you'll have a thorough understanding. And like I said, according to how to serve the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob through Christ and the Holy Spirit. So do that, guarantee you guys won't have no more issues. You'll be seeing blessings come left and right. You'll know when they're coming because you're doing righteous and you're keeping his word and everything in righteousness. and not
Right.
doing it corruptly or trying to gain through wickedness and things like that. So,
Right. Right.
you know,
Right. And you will have issues, but he'll be preparing you for the issues that you'll be having. Because we all have issues. That's a part of the test of getting in. That's a part of it. The
Mhm.
issues that come towards us. Now, what do? Do we go listen to our wife? Do we go listen to our girlfriend? Do we go listen to our kids? That's old time stuff, Dad. Or do we stick with the word when those issues come, when those times come? Because they are here and they are going to get stronger.
Yep, 100%. That's right.
Yes.
So, well, I hope you guys got something out of this, you know. So, you know, so we're gonna end it there, and that's the finale of How to Judge Righteously, you know, according to the Most High. So that was well, there was 1 and 2, and this was part 3, but this was the finale. So, next lesson is coming up. How to, I don't know. I got a couple of lessons I'm gonna come out with, but maybe I think it's gonna be on how to deal with the Gentiles, since now we have done this righteously, you know, or done the lesson of how to judge righteously. So let's see what's the judgment that's according to the law, statute, commandments of the Most High through Yeshua and the Holy Spirit to the Gentiles. So that's the next lesson that's gonna be coming up: how to deal with the Gentiles. Okay, so I'm Brother Ezekiel.
Brother Chris.
And we're saying Shalom, Yeshua Allah, and the world. Shalom.
Come on.